And I saw these clips. They said Catholics that aren't basically for open borders, you know, are unfaithful. And they call Jesus is a migrant and all this stuff. Folks, this is a Ford Foundation plan. It's public. You can read it. To break this country up. Not for Mexico. And that's the thing people have to understand. This isn't some La Infosora reconquering invasion thing like a lot of the Mexican radio stations are named and stuff. It's fun and cute and everything. Okay? America has been conquered by foreign banks. Okay? America was never perfect, but America doesn't even exist anymore. All we've got is the Bill of Rights and Constitution, and that's slipping away. And we're going to be probably worse than Mexico. At least you don't have Predator drones bombing people there. All right, I'm done talking about it. But you know, you hear about churches aren't supposed to be involved in political stuff, the government says. Can you imagine if there was some big international denomination calling for, you know, a big government policy to be changed and it was pro-liberty? They'd be shut down. It's because the globalists want this. The globalists who are evil on every front, but then they sell this idea that this is a good idea. Again, read the SPP documents the Judicial Watch sued and got 4 years ago. Continuing, in Iowa, Paul closes in within 1 point of frontrunner Gingrich. In some polls, he is actually above him or tied with him. Gingrich's favorable rating has declined 19 points among Iowans since last week because they actually found out who he is. See, knowledge is power. Oh, by the way, Newt Gingrich wants open borders again. Not because he's a touchy-feely guy. He's an absolute tyrant. But because he wants to drive down wages and implode this country. You don't lift poor countries up by lowering your standards. That's been proven through major economic studies. Of course, look at NAFTA and GATT. Al Gore said it was going to be great. Look what it's done to us. Was it great? Mexico's losing most of its jobs to China. Because China is the bottom. Because the Chinese people are absolute slaves. They're good, hardworking people, and nobody's going to compete with them, folks. Nobody can. They'll dump pure toxic waste right in the river their own kids drink because the government says so. Well, we got more environmental regulations piled on us where our power plants can't even produce carbon dioxide plants breathe. No one is going to compete with China. It's the globalist plan. They got 1 billion people that nobody can compete with by the plan. People criticize China and say we should put tariffs on to make it fair and make them pay their people more. And they say, oh, you're anti-Chinese. They play that game, ladies and gentlemen. They play that game with people, and everybody's like, oh, I'm polite, I'm not racist, okay, take my rights. All right, continuing here, in New Hampshire, Romney still 33, Gingrich 22, Paul 18, if you believe that. And Paul agrees when he was on the show yesterday that a lot of these polls are cooked. Many other independent polls show Ron Paul's a front runner across the board. But let's look at who Newt Gingrich is himself. Not just supporting carbon taxes, open borders, not just supporting Obama socialist care, not just flip-flopping and all the other things he's done, not just calling for world government and into the family and into world borders, world government. Newt Gingrich has said in speeches and in discussions and has proposed, this is being reported on by Politico and a bunch of other politics, Huffington Post as well, quote, the death penalty for marijuana, for possession of marijuana above a certain quantity of marijuana, and yet he is among 100 million Americans who smoke marijuana, MSNBC also reported. Yeah, that's Gary Johnson, who we've interviewed, the former governor of New Mexico, Republican candidate, who's being completely ignored. And yeah, Newt Gingrich is for the total drug war. He's not stupid. He knows the government ships most of it in. He wants to kill you if you smoke marijuana. I mean, that is kooky. That is crazy. That is dangerous. And he calls Ron Paul a kook. I've seen him on the TV for being for the decriminalization. So you don't end up going to jail or having to pay thousands of dollars because at some illegal checkpoint they found some marijuana you have that George Washington smoked. Again, this is the crud. Remember, he wants to kill you if you smoke marijuana. You can't make that up. And then he's an admitted pot smoker in the past. I mean, that just shows you how unbelievably wicked Newt Gingrich is. Now, I have covered Newt and Chong, the hypocrite. We're going to go to break and come back with Wayne Madsen. But first, I want to get to, and we'll roll some of the video before I go to it, this footage that we shot, that Darren McBreen and Rob Jacobson shot. They went down last night to Eric Holder, who I've been talking about, the admitted perjurer before Congress, the admitted person who has been caught shipping guns into Mexico to then blame the Second Amendment the guy who was intimately involved, the cover-up of what really happened in Oklahoma City. His emails have been made public when he was Deputy Attorney General. This is the guy who's protecting MF Global. This is the guy who knew full well that Corzine did take the money, as you just saw, as the head of the CMT broke down. He came to the LBJ School of Public Affairs at the LBJ Library and Museum and was met by this simpering little pomp and was enrolled in a big motorcade like he's an important person. I guess he is a front man for the mafia, so I guess he is. And he's got his little glamour shot there. And he was pushing UN oversight of our elections and basically having the illegals vote. And then it's a checkmate. The banks bring in foreign population, give them chicken feed handouts if they vote to let them rob everything blind, and then we implode like every other third world country. And mission complete, the elites live in armored fortresses, and we're down here, drinking muddy water, sewer water with our kids dying. And we'll be there soon. All of you that aren't sophisticated enough to figure this out, you want it, you got it. So we'll go ahead and go to this report and then come back from break and get to the incredible interview with Wayne Madsen of the Wayne Madsen Report. Please stay with us.
Fast and the Furious under the ATF Phoenix, hundreds of guns leaked out, given to Mexican drug cartels on watchful eyes of cameras, recorded by the ATF on video for 2 years. And under the watch Eric Holder, he was informed about it on public record video, him admitting that he knew about the Operation Fast and the Furious. And 2 years later, here we go, and the scandal's broken all across the major news networks, and it's really a shame. You have sheriffs and people in the House, Congress calling for Eric Holder to resign. And today we're here at the LBJ Library, University of Texas, where Eric Holder was speaking today. And there was a bigger protest earlier for a different reason, Eric Holder, and we're here to protest the false flag of Fast and the Furious. And we may not be here in huge numbers, but we are representing thousands. Literally, each one of us, there are thousands of people across the world that are against this, and we're here standing for you.
I think it's really sad that a border agent got killed, and that it seems like the Freedom of Information Act should have been responded to a lot quicker, a lot better, a lot more full, and I think there's a lot of things that are still being hidden.
Sending a bunch of guns to Mexican drug cartels in order to set up an attack on the Second Amendment.
Do you think it was like a false flag attack on our Second Amendment, like they did on purpose? So maybe they had an excuse to go into the border
New gun control laws. Oh, absolutely. There's very little you could say to convince me otherwise at this point.
So you think Eric Holder knows a lot more than what he's telling the public and what he's telling Congress and the Senate?
I hate to say it, but yes, because it's either that or he's totally incompetent and he doesn't know what's going on in his department.
This is the guy caught perjuring himself, and the memos CBS released last week show that they said they were going to blame the guns in Mexico on the Second Amendment. Is that not a form of false flag against our most basic of rights, sir? And what would you do, if president, to people like Eric Holder?
Well, he should be immediately fired, and then there should be an investigation and find out if charges should be made. And that's obviously over the top. And all these kind of sting operations and false flag, this is criminal. I don't know whether charges will be made, but he deserves to have charges, up against him.
It was reported yesterday by the Daily Caller that emails to and from Holder about Operation Fast and Furious, that they may exist, and that he's refusing to provide them to Congress.
Under his watchful eye, the guns were leaked out. I mean, this is a guy, he's criminal, linking back even to Waco. Ladies and gentlemen should look into that. And also
Ruby Ridge.
Yes, Ruby Ridge.
Yep.
And, this is a guy on record. I mean, a lot of these guys are on the record for committing things that an ordinary citizen would be thrown in jail really quick. But for some reason, these people in a position of authority can get away with this, even when their peers are asking them to resign.
We've got students of law here is saying that, like, okay, he's a prominent figure in law enforcement, and we're honored to have him here today to speak to the law students. Bunch of BS, because he does not represent good law.
You're busted, man. We all know about Operation Fast and the Furious and the repercussions of that. You're exposed. The light's on you, and this isn't going to go away.
People know about Operation Fast and Furious.
I saw a report where he was in D.C. giving a speech. The media asked him about it, and he said, "How dare you bring this up?" just a few days before he came to Austin. All right, we're going to go to break and come back with the and the Wayne Madsen interview, but I mean, the protesters are absolutely on target. This is a crook, and it's all over. So honored to have you. That's why we're in so much trouble, because these guys pretty much are untouchable, and they can get away with anything now, even when they get caught. What are they doing we don't know about? What's coming next? Tens of thousands of guns into Mexico? And I reported all this with Sully Castile, DEA agent, 6 years ago. We knew this was coming. But you can't get the American people involved. You can't get the Mexican people involved, because all the big media and all the big think tanks control all the groups and have everybody too busy fighting with each other than to ever realize we have a criminal ruling class over the entire globe. It's called globalism. It's called a new world order. And they know sociology, psychology, anthropology, and they manipulate us. And they're cold-blooded gangsters. It's Infowars Nightly News.
What's up with these sorry politicians? Lots of bark. When it's showtime, whimpering like little shih tzus. You want big cuts. Ron Paul's been screaming it for years. Budget crisis? No problem. Got $1 trillion year one. That's trillion with a T. Department of Education? Gone. Interior, Energy, HUD, Commerce? Gone. Later, bureaucrats. That's how Ron Paul rolls. Want to drain the swamp? Ron Paul. Do it.
I'm Ron Paul, and I approve this message.
If you believe in this information and want to support its viral spread, go to the Infowars store at Infowars.com. We've got the new G.I. Joe Infowars t-shirts. We've got the incredible Pro Pure gravity-fed filters available at Infowars.com in the store. We've got a new DVD, Scientists Under Attack, the Don't Tread on Me flag. We've got all sorts of different bumper stickers to help spread the rebellion virally. It's all there. Wristbands, citizen rule books in every order. Order online at Infowars.com today. The water filters, the canteens. It's all there. Infowars.com. Thank you for joining us. It's now the interview section of Infowars Nightly News, and we're joined by investigative journalist, former NSA officer, Navy veteran, Wayne Madsen. And I like to introduce Wayne this way because I always get a chuckle out of it. Watching C-SPAN, if there's some important national security meeting going on, or even some arcane thing happening, you'll see him in the first or second row scribbling notes. And he has just broken so many stories on this show over the years. He has traveled all over the world, Libya when it's being bombed, and Indonesia investigating the birth certificate. You name it, he does it. And I remember seeing some evidence to this when it happened, the Gifford shooting with the Tucson event. But now he's gotten some really interesting information that integrates into Fast and Furious and why they wanted to kill the judge and Giffords. But the judge was the real target. And the headline is, the CIA cannot survive without its drug running and child trafficking. And if you're a new viewer, it's on record, DynCorp, Halliburton, the CIA have giant white slavery running rings. And people always email me saying, what about black slaves? Folks, white slavery means sex slavery if you're a new viewer or publicly educated like I was, and including children. So there's a real race to the bottom in corruption where even people involved in moderate corruption can't blow the whistle on the worst stuff in the world because they will be compromised as well. So that this is why tyranny tends to accelerate, as we're now seeing here in America with the National Defense Authorization Act, secret arrest of citizens, torture is great, drones, tracking ranchers is wonderful. It's because tyranny is here. And joining us with the inside intel is Wayne Madsen of WayneMadsenReport.com. Wayne, from the National Press Club, there in their media center. Wayne, break it down, and thank you for sharing this with us.
Well, I have been in touch with a person that I've known for a few years now who has been a confidential informant for both the FBI and the Drug Enforcement Administration. And he contacted me recently to let me know that he was actually in communication, in meetings with Judge Roll and Congresswoman Gifford in 2009 about the tremendous amount of weapons that were going across the Arizona-Mexico border, as specifically